This week, the Madison School Board voted to remove police officers from its schools. It was one of the demands of racial justice protesters who say African American students can feel threatened by their presence. Earlier today, we spoke with Madison School Board President Gloria Reyes, who also happens to be a former police officer. And Gloria Reyes, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So why did you vote in favor of removing police resource officers from Madison's high schools?
It was a really difficult decision. After George Floyd's murder by a police officer, it really changed the environment throughout the country and here locally. I learned early on, shortly thereafter, that I lost the majority of board member support to keep SROs in our schools. And I had to set my personal and professional thoughts about our police officers in schools and listen to my colleagues and the many voices in our community who were advocating to remove our officers from our schools. Well, I know that our Madison Police Department, SROs particularly, have provided our schools and students many benefits that have built trust and relationships, and our Madison Police Department officers serve our community every day with integrity and compassion. I know that because I served and worked alongside many of them. I also felt that the culmination of the racially motivated incidents in our country had served really to increase the emotional and psychological impact that having SROs in our schools and the impact that it had on our students, especially our students of color. So as a result, I felt we owed it to them to pursue a viable alternative to SROs in our buildings. I know that we as a community and all over the country have utilized police officers to respond to every societal challenge. And we need to stop placing our officers in those positions, invest in resources that get to the root causes of violence and public safety challenges, instead of relying our officers and place them in these positions to solve a lot of our complex societal challenges. So considering the incidents of racial injustice that our nation has experienced, and as MMSD continued planning for the reopening of schools this fall, I felt that the timing was right. It gives us some time for the Board of Education to incorporate a strategy of options to remove SROs from our school. And so, it's very complex times, as you know, and having lasting and painful memories for our students and staff, and felt it was time to press harder to dismantle the systems that perpetuate racism and create new structures void of harmful inequities, and with that well-being of every student at the center. And this is an opportunity to do that, right? Not only within our law enforcement profession, but also within our public school system.
I know that you were just saying that the student resource officers provide a lot of different services other than just being kind of peacekeepers or dealing with issues within a school. In fact, some people are saying, okay, if you remove these officers from the schools, then you really need to backfill with things like social workers and psychologists, counselors, and nurses. Is that in the planning in terms of trying to replace all of the things that these officers provided in the schools?
Yeah, I mean that has to be part of the plan. We had relied on officers to really be social workers, mental health professionals, when they don't have the capacity to do that. And we, as a school district, need to prioritize our budget around social service, opportunities and services to our students. And so we're just going to have to invest our funds in a different way. To provide those mental health and social emotional support systems for our students.
And so are there those funds within the district to do that?
We will currently right now we are waiting for the state budget, and so We don't have anything set in place right now, but that is going to be our priority. I know that our Madison Teachers Union did come out and had supported removing SROs out of our schools if we were able to come up with an additional 33 staff people. And I can't say either way right now. However, we're considering a variety of different approaches. We are, like I said, currently waiting for the budget repair bill from the state. And it's unlikely, though, that we will be able to hire anywhere near that amount of additional staff and time, but we anticipate, because we anticipate some budget reductions. However, I think we have to figure out and be innovative and divert current resources to these support services.
Some people have said that, in fact, notwithstanding everything we've been talking about, these officers in the schools had been able to build relationships and provide as role models to some students. What about the loss of that?
It's going to be a big loss. It is. I think they were one component of our safety and security plan. They were able to build relationships, as you said, de-escalate situations, offer, family and training support. And so they have provided great service to our students at our comprehensive high schools. And I think we're just going to have to reimagine what our public safety looks like right now. I think we have to really put our students, particularly our students of color, at the center and to be able to lead us through a solution. Law enforcement has really been placed in positions that historically has caused harm disproportionately for our people of color, and we have to recognize that on reinventing what public safety looks like in our schools.
All right, Gloria Reyes, we need to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on this.
Sure. Thank you.